At a family meeting, my parents casually mentioned they would use my inheritance to pay off my brother's debts. I smiled and said, actually, about that inheritance. My name's Gabriel. I'm 34 and I've been cleaning up after my little brother Kyle since we were kids. When Grandpa Joe died last March, he left me his vintage car collection. 23 classic cars worth $890,000, a 67 Mustang, a 70 Dodge Charger, even a mint 63 Corvette split window. Before he died, Grandpa pulled me aside at the hospital. The cars are yours, Gabriel. All of them. I was shocked. Grandpa, that should be split with Kyle. He squeezed my hand. Kyle asked me for $50,000 last month. Said it was for business. I found out it was gambling debts. His eyes got serious. My cars aren't becoming poker chips. 2 weeks later, he was gone. At the will reading, Kyle got $15,000 cash. I got the entire collection. Kyle's face went red. He walked out before the attorney even finished talking. 6 months of silence. Then Mom called last Tuesday. Family meeting Saturday at 2. Very important. Don't be late. I knew that tone. Kyle needed something. When I arrived, Dad was in his study chair. Kyle sat on the couch picking his fingernails. There was a folder on the coffee table with family trust agreement printed on the front. Thanks for coming, Dad started. We need to discuss Grandpa's estate, the cars specifically. Mom leaned forward. Your brother has encountered financial difficulties. He owes $340,000 to creditors who aren't particularly patient. Gambling debts, I said flatly. Kyle's head snapped up. Business investments that didn't pan out. Right, like the sports memorabilia store that closed in 4 months? Or the crypto thing? Dad slid papers across the table. We've established a family trust. It consolidates major assets for everyone's benefit, starting with the car collection. I picked up the documents. They'd done their homework. The trust listed them as trustees with fair distribution to family members in financial need. You want me to put Grandpa's cars in this trust so you can sell them and bail out Kyle? I said. It's temporary, Mom insisted. Once Kyle gets back on his feet, remaining assets stay family property. Kyle finally spoke. Come on, man. These guys aren't messing around. I need this. How much have you already given him? I asked my parents. They exchanged glances. Answer the question. Dad's voice dropped. Over the years, maybe $180,000? $180,000 for his restaurant that failed, his app that never launched, his day trading phase. We're his parents, Mom said. What were we supposed to do? Let him face consequences. Once. Just once. So you're saying no, Kyle said, his voice going hard. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. I'm saying I can't help, even if I wanted to. I showed them the email from Grandpa's attorney, sent 3 weeks after the funeral. Dad took my phone and read aloud. Per the amended clause added to Joseph Morrison's will on February 14th, the vehicle collection must remain in Gabriel Morrison's possession for a minimum of 5 years. Any attempt to sell, transfer, or place vehicles in trust results in automatic forfeiture to the National Automotive Museum. Complete silence. Mom stared at the screen. That can't be legal. It's completely legal. Grandpa added it 2 months before he died. His attorney confirmed everything. You've known about this? Dad asked. Since last month. Kyle stood up, face flushing red. So you let us waste 3 weeks planning this? We paid an attorney $3,000 for these trust documents. I didn't let you do anything. You assumed I'd hand over Grandpa's legacy. You didn't ask me. You summoned me to a meeting with paperwork already drawn up. Mom's expression shifted from shock to something harder. Did you tell him to add that clause? No, but I'm glad he did. You're really hiding behind legal technicalities while I'm drowning, Kyle said. I'm not hiding. Grandpa knew exactly what he was doing. He told me you'd asked him for money. He wanted to make sure his cars didn't get sold piece by piece to cover your gambling debts. Dad carefully set my phone down on the table. Your grandfather really planned this? Word for word. My cars aren't becoming poker chips. Those were his exact words. The fight drained out of Kyle. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. Kyle, Mom started. Don't, he said without turning. Just don't. The door slammed. Mom stared at their useless paperwork. $3,000 spent on an attorney for documents that meant absolutely nothing. He planned this, Dad said quietly. Your grandfather actually planned this. Yeah, he loved those cars. But more than that, he loved me enough to protect what he built, even from family. I stood to leave. Gabriel, Mom said, her voice breaking. We're just trying to help your brother. I know, but helping and enabling aren't the same thing. Grandpa knew that. Maybe it's time you learned it too. I walked out to my car, the 67 Mustang, Grandpa's favorite. As I drove away, I could see them through the living room window, still sitting there with those worthless documents spread across the table. Kyle never spoke to me again after that day, and honestly, Grandpa would have been proud.